I'm Terry Amos, former owner of a security guard company, protection agency, current actor, writer. The first time I met Stefanos was I owned a protection agency, and we primarily did balancing and personal protection work all throughout the Los Angeles area. So he came to an interview. I was impressed. Take one look at Stefanos. He's the perfect look, size that you want for a nightclub bouncer. He had just come from North Carolina, and I think with Rudy Mattia, and I put him to work, and he was phenomenal at it. He was a rugged looking dude and a formidable dude. He had a certain presence, aura about him, a certain charisma, and then when I saw him in action, he portrayed just how he looked: fearless, no nonsense, proactive. Almost had to hold the reins back on him, man, because he was real quick to put a lock or a hold on somebody who was getting out of line, So sometimes I had to rein him in a little bit, but if you treated him right and you were a gentleman or a lady around him, he treated you just the same. So he carried himself very well, quiet demeanor, soft-spoken fellow, but just in a blink of an eye, if anything went down, he was there. If I had to pick somebody to be in an alley with me, and I don't say this lightly, he'd be top 2 or 3 in my life, and he's proven it in actual street situations, but many, many times in the nightclub situation.
I'm like a cop. I have to keep order in a place that is full of drunks and alcohol, and drug addicts. In the middle of the night, I don't have a badge, so I have to depend on other bouncers, other security people that I work with to watch my back. It's almost like most of us have worked for a long time together. We all know each other. You know who's going to back you up. You know who's going to back you up. You want to work with people that you know your back is covered. If I'm dealing with a customer that's out of line, the other security guys or bouncers, their jobs will be to watch my back, make sure that nobody's going to attack me from the back. When I first came to LA, I was doing a lot of underground clubs. I came to LA, I had basically no money. And I worked for this black security company, and we did security for underground clubs, different club every single night. Most of them were black and Korean clubs, and I was the only white person.
He had a nice demeanor. He had a good sense of humor. He's somebody you could talk to, and his philosophical views were deep. I mean, you look at him as a physical specimen, a great fighter and this, that, and the other, but he was actually a very deep human being, very intelligent, well-read, could quote you from the great Greek philosophers verbatim, very creative mind, and just somebody who had a certain, aura and a special demeanor about him that stood out. And when you looked in those crazy blue eyes of his, I think they were blue, you knew you were looking at somebody serious. You wouldn't want to be on the other side of that. You would want to be on his angry side. Let's put it that way.
I'm doing this club. It was called Peace Posse.
Peace Posse?
Peace Posse. 99% black club. It was an awesome club. It was my favorite club. It was fun. It was very exotic, exciting. And I was running security. It came to my attention that there was a problem in the pool room. There was a billiard table. So I walked to the billiard table and I see this guy with a pool stick on the table swinging at everybody. I'm like, look, man, get off the table. And he's like, fuck you, man, he swings at me. And somehow I was able to get between the swings and grab him by the neck. And when I did that, his chains, had a bunch of gold chains, they just broke. And while I did that, one of his friends from behind me, hit me with a beer bottle on the head. And also some funny things. I mean, at the same club one night, I had this other guy. Every time he came to work, he kept pulling his gun out and showing us his gun, and it was it was funny. One night, there's a fight that's breaking up outside of the club. One of them has a knife, so he pulls out, reaches and puts the knife underneath his throat, and takes his gun. And the guy just froze. He takes the gun, points it at him, and then just raises it up and shoots and just takes off. He wanted me to go and help, and I'm like, the guy just took your gun away from you. And you want me to come over there and chase the guy with the gun and help you, fool? Anyway, you see all kinds of characters when you work. Some of them, are very loud. You're going to go to your car sometimes tonight, and you have to take this, seriously. Sometimes, or at this point of my life, if somebody threatens my life, I'm not going to let him get out of that club. I'm going to put him down. I'm going to control him. I'm either going to call the police or whatever. It's like, look, you're going to threaten my life. You better have a gun point blank on my head. Otherwise, I have to protect myself.
When he was working for me, we were over here on Highland, North Highland at the Cat House. We had that venue for a while. And Stefanos was a little bit late. So he walks up to me and he has a leather jacket on and it's all scuffed up and dirty. And I said, why are you late, man? Because I was a real stickler about being on time. Actually, 15 minutes earlier, you were late. You were considered late. And he says, I just had a little minor accident. I flipped over. Because he had this motorcycle that was, he wasn't a very good motorcycle rider, but that's all he had at the time. And that's how he got around, this old beat up Honda thing. And it was so bent from where he would crash it and roll it. But what happened is that he ran into a car ran into him, and he flipped over the car and he landed. He was a martial artist and a wrestler, so he landed okay. He survived it. But just the way he casually said, yes, Terry, I just got hit by a vehicle, by a car, and I flipped over it, but I'm okay. But the bike's a little messed up. It was like, he had to steer it like this to go home because it was bent. The frame of it was bent. So, like I say, just calm under pressure. A man of, not a man of excuses, but a man of solutions. And again, just somebody, you could count on in a pinch.
That's exciting.
Why do I got into bouncing? And I've been a bouncer for 30 years. I got into bouncing because I had dreams of doing other things. Hobbies, maybe it would be the better word. I loved the art of fighting, and I eventually really fell into acting, the art of acting. And in order to support those two habits, I had to work at night. So I had my days free to either study acting or study fighting. And I started with the best fighters in the world, like Rickson Gracie, the Machados, Rob Kamen. I mean, some superb fighters. And at the same time, I started with some great actors like Joan Baron and Milton Castellas, and it paid the bills.
How would I describe Stefanos in one sentence? Just deep, a thinking man, a calm demeanor for the most part, man of integrity, philosophical, a gentle giant in many ways, and one of the few people I call friend. Charismatic, if I had to pick one word.